Do it with Dan. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna teach you guys how to ride a motorcycle. So first of all, when riding a motorcycle, you're gonna look at your bike and you're gonna say, okay, is this a motorcycle? If it is a motorcycle, proceed to the next step. If it is not a motorcycle, get a motorcycle. So you always want to get on a motorcycle on the kickstand side because it's easier. So you get on, straddle across it, bring it flat to where it's nice and even, like a nice even plane. Okay, now that you're on your motorcycle, you need to turn it on. You're just gonna turn the key on, but you're not gonna turn the bike on itself. See, your kickstand's down, you almost forgot that. Before you get rolling, you need to put that kickstand up. Okay, the bike is in fact in gear, because that's how I parked it. So I'm gonna just kind of kick it into neutral. Nope, that's second gear. I can't help but notice that this isn't neutral. Now that your bike is in neutral, you need to make sure your kill switch isn't on. If it's on, hit that button, it won't start. You put your kill switch off, you hit that button. I guess you got to pull in the clutch on these things. That's how they are, I guess. It's relatively simple on how to get going. I'm going to turn my bike around to where I'm facing a straight line. Because if you're new to riding, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position where you have to turn right after acceleration, because you're going to freak out and be like, whoa, 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 and then you're going to die. And we don't want that. Make sure, this is a good way to practice. The first thing that most people mess up with is the clutch. Since this is a beginner bike, I'm going to go through the steps actually. If you know how to ride a motorcycle, you can skip the steps. This will be kind of funny, but yet informative. I teach a lot of people how to ride motorcycles because I'm that motorcycle friend that has a motorcycle and teaches people how to ride. I guess that's like, and by the way, once you get a motorcycle, you're going to have everyone and their mom be like, can you teach me how to ride a bike? I want to ride a bike. So that's just how this goes. Now the bike's on, how do you proceed? Well, you need to accelerate. So, obviously, you're going to twist the throttle. It's not going to go anywhere because you're not in gear. So to put your bike in gear, you're going to push the clutch. First gear on 99% of all bikes is down 1. So you press your shifter down 1 time to go into first gear. You can go and accelerate in first gear. Thankfully, this bike, which is pretty neat, has a gear indicator. Perfect for new riders. Now, the way gears are on motorcycles usually throw people off. You have neutral. First gear is below neutral, so 1 click down to go into first gear. So first gear is below neutral. Second gear is above neutral. And so is third and fourth and fifth and sixth. If it's a 6-speed, if it's not, it'll have 5 gears. So first, neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth, and potentially 6 if you have 6 speeds like this bike does. My Magna does not. The best way to do it is find an empty parking lot like I've done, where there's people, cute older ladies in a caravan. You're going to pull in the clutch, put it in first gear, so click it down, and you're just going to practice going in a straight line. You're not going to worry about turning, because this is how people mess up. And here's what's going to happen the first couple of times. If you're really new, don't have any experience driving manual cars, here's what's going to happen. You're going to start to go, and then you're going to stall. That's exactly what's going to happen for a lot of people. The best way to fix this, I've figured out over the years, is to just practice feathering the clutch. Don't even worry about accelerating. Put your hand on it, but don't turn it. Don't turn it. Just keep your hand rested on it. So you're just going to practice letting out the clutch and walking the bike. You're going to feel the clutch start to grab. You can hear it. Hear the engine grab. You'll hear it start to like lower RPM. You hear it. You hear how it starts to grab, and the bike will start to move forward. So what you're going to do is you're going to let the clutch out. The bike's going to start to move on its own, just very slowly, and start walking the bike. And then stop. Don't go any farther than that. We're going to practice this a couple of times. So you start letting the clutch out. The bike starts to move on its own. And then eventually the bike will coast on its own. And then you stop. Hey, puppy. This has been the easiest way I've found in teaching people who have never used a clutch before. So again, no acceleration. I'm not touching the throttle at all. You're just going to let the bike go under its own weight. Walk it forward a little bit. And now the bike will coast on its own weight. And then you can accelerate. But now there's a turn, so you're basically just going to do that. If you've ever ridden a bicycle, you'll know how to do this. But don't worry about doing what I'm doing. Don't worry about circles. These people probably think I'm... Let the clutch out. Do not apply throttle. Let it walk under its own weight. Move your feet. Begin to walk it. And the bike will move on its own. And then, at that point, you can apply throttle accordingly. And just do this a couple times until you get a feel for the clutch. This is the most appropriate way to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Otherwise, you're going to stall a bunch like that. And I did that by the way, I'm doing this on purpose to show you how it's going to be for your first couple of times if you've never had any experience with motorcycles before. And let me explain this off the bike so I don't wreck my shit. What a lot of people do is they will begin to accelerate, and this is why I teach people to practice with the clutch without using any acceleration to begin with, because they'll start to go faster than they want to go. They'll grab on really tight, and when they do that, it twists the throttle. This is called whiskey throttle. When you grab on tight because you're scared, you're going to grab the throttle and it's going to twist, and then the bike is going to accelerate even more, and you're going to lose control of it, and you're going to dump it at probably about 20 miles an hour down the road because you've lost control. This happens to a lot of people, so if it does happen to you, don't feel bad, but I've given you the appropriate steps to avoid that. Practice with the clutch first. This is the most important part. After you get that, you can begin to apply throttle. And then the rest is pretty simple. You've got your brake here, and you also have another brake there. So, let's practice shifting into second. So now I'm in first gear. I'm going to accelerate. To shift into second, you're going to pull in the clutch. To shift into second, you're going to pull in the clutch. Click up all the way through, and now you're in second gear. See how that feels? You're coasting. Time to shift. Pull in the clutch. Click all the way up into second, and now you're in second gear. Of course, I did it early, so it made like a sound, but you get the idea. And then third is just up again. Does this make sense? I hope it does, and I hope that this has been helpful. And then you just practice doing figure eights. My weak side are my right turns. I'm way better at turning left than I am at turning right. I would make a great NASCAR driver. So, for me, I will just practice doing figure eights. And I've been riding for years now, and my right turns are still not as good as my lefts. They just don't feel as good, you know what I'm saying? Practicing figure eights in an empty parking lot where no one's gonna mess with you is a good way to practice turning. You're gonna start out wide. You're gonna start out really wide. A wide turn, you're gonna say, oh no, I don't think I can make that. Trust me, if you lean correctly, your bike can make it. Lean left, and then eventually start getting a little bit more down. And I've made too wide of a turn. And you can continue to get down lower and lower until you feel uncomfortable. One thing you want to avoid while turning is full lock. You never want that motorcycle to hit full lock, because once you do that, once the motorcycle hits full lock where the handlebars can't go any further, the bike's center of gravity is usually over itself and will drop it. So yeah, that's how to ride a bike, featuring Do It with Dickhead.